So hello, the channel has been around for something around 3 years or four, something like that. I really wanted to take this small time, this starting time of this video to give a big thanks to all of you that have been around since the starting of the channel. It has been an interesting ride to start uploading here in YouTube. And as you can see, right now we are again in Total War. Everything began with Total War, if you remember correctly. It was Napoleon Total War. And right now, as the channel grew, I went into other titles, experimenting things and trying to understand a lot of things about YouTube. As of right now, the channel is kinda doing good in terms of community, and I'm pretty pleased about that. As you may know, I don't have a schedule in which I upload videos on a specific day. I usually do my own stuff and usually upload when I can. I'm very happy about the community, and hopefully the community will grow. I don't know if it's going to grow fast, but I just really wanted to say thanks for all of you that have been here, and let's get on with Total War Pharaoh. So for Total War Pharaoh, you can see that in this is the last installment for a Total War game. I think that this is even newer than Total War Warhammer 3. It takes a lot from Warhammer, and it has a completely different, let's say, doctrine from the previous Total Wars. That's why the other Total Wars are called Legacy, and these are the new Total Wars. For some people, the new Total Wars are not quite what they expected, and I can understand that in some level, but they are not bad, and I'm going to begin with saying that they are not bad. They are different. They have changed a little bit the formula, but there are still Total War, and there are still Total War games that are beautiful. So they decided with Total War Pharaoh. By the way, this is not Dynasties. Dynasties is an expansion of the map. This is the normal one, and this is the one that I haven't played. I was playing a lot Troy Total War, and it was very nice. It was beautiful. I liked it a lot. And then I decided, let's try Total War Pharaoh, the normal, the standard, the one that has the map just not expanded into the Aegean and in Mesopotamia. So I decided to start with the icon of the game, which is Pharaoh Ramses. Ramses here, we are at 4 turns. Okay, now just for you to understand a little bit I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to show you the map. This is what we got here. The map, you can access the map as always like this. So here we have, you know what? I'm going to show you the map in a different, I think is in, okay, here we are. In faction summary, we can see here the map, and the map is pretty big in comparison with other Total Wars. That is, we have, what I like about Pharaoh is that it is an expansion of Total War Troy. It is in the same age, and it is basically an expansion because Total War Troy saga is around the Aegean here, and here it adds exactly the place. I think the Total War Troy ends in this spot over here. It also has a little bit of this area here, and then you have all of Anatolia here, Levant, and Egypt. And Egypt is pretty huge, as you can see. It reaches down here to Kush. So it is a pretty big and beautiful map of the Middle Eastern area here in the Bronze Age. So that's pretty much what it is. By the way, if you go like this, you will see this window here. The UI, it's pretty similar to what we got in Warhammer. That's why I say that it has a lot of elements from the UI that are borrowed from the Warhammer series. There are, by the way, they changed the way you can show the troops here. You can see that we have the traditional classical Total War troops like this, or you can leave them as they are, which are the actual 3D models. So that's something neat. They have added a lot of customization in terms of the UI, in terms of what you can see. It is pretty beautiful the way it looks. It runs smoothly. It, by the way, I have played a lot. I have been very, very hooked with Total War Troy, and the way this map runs, and the way the camera moves is smoother. The best performance that I've ever had in a Total War game. It is beautiful to see. I'm going to put the cinematic camera like this. It is beautiful to see. There are a lot of details on the ground. You see now, this is beautiful. I like it. I like it so much. You can see the pyramids over there, and I'm going to place myself, by the way, we're right now in the Sinai Peninsula here. I'm going to place myself in here, and you're going to be able to see this beautiful thing of Egypt and all of these Bronze Age splendoros thing that we have here. This is the Levant area. And one thing that I really love is this type of fog of war. You can see this is the shroud, if I'm not mistaken. They call it the shroud. Look at this beautiful thing. It looks like a flight simulator. So this is so beautiful. I like the new addition that they did, like the Shroud of War, because it's different from the Fog of War. Because Fog of War is this black thing here, this grayed out thing, but that is the Shroud. So beautiful, and you can even place yourself in here, and you feel like you are flying. Oh, it's so beautiful. I don't know why it has so much hate. You know, I never open in my channel these topics about the new Total Wars, the old Total Wars. It is simply, for me, Total War franchise give us the most stunning visuals that you can have in a war game, okay, in a war game of sorts. So you will not get something more detailed in terms of graphics than a Total War game in nowadays standards. Total War has elevated the standard of visuals so high that it is going to be basically virtually very, very difficult for other to get on par with this developer. I'm not talking about the topics about the UI, how they change the mechanics. That's another topic, and that is not what I'm talking about. I'm really telling you the truth, what I'm seeing, the quality of the product of the game. The quality is stunning. You can see the lions here. How cool is this? Let me show you how cool is this lions. Look at the behind the shroud. You can see the skybox. The skybox in Troy is beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful ones that I have ever seen. In here, you can see it as well. It's beautiful. So as you may see, perhaps you are going to expect me to do a video here about my run with Ramses. Apparently, this character Ramses is fighting with the other pretenders to the throne of the Pharaoh in this time period, the late Bronze Age, when the so-called Bronze Age collapse, when the Sea Peoples invade. The whole premise of this is that you are struggling like in a moment in time where there is going to happen a cataclysm, which is the collapse of the Bronze Age, and also you are in the middle of the civil war that will happen, something like that. I'm not very well versed in Bronze Age. I'm simply telling you what I know. These places are called according to the names of the characters. This is the realm of Merneptah, which is the actual pharaoh. This is in the Sinai. We are Ramses, and we are supposed to take all of the Sinai Peninsula up to these parts where it says Ashkelon, and we are supposed to take everything here, including Beersheba. This is what we're trying to do in the middle of the so-called attacks of the Sea Peoples. And I'm going to show you who are supposedly the Sea Peoples, or at least what I think they are. I believe that these guys are Sea Peoples because they are called, when I show you here, the diplomacy. If you see here, you see the Sea Wanderers. So we have the Peleset, the Teresh, Checker, all of these weird names, and those guys are this one, for example. This is one Sea Wanderer, and this one is a Sea Wanderer. Up to this point, because I just began the game, I just began the run, just looking around, dealing with the UI, understanding what we have here. I really think that for someone that never touched a Total War game, this is so confusing and complex. But even for me, that I'm a veteran, it was a little bit complex. Even coming from Troy, Pharaoh Total War is a little bit complex because you have a lot of customization. As I said, you can choose your path. What I have noted as well is that in new Total Wars like these, they have implemented things like they changed the victory objectives. The victory objectives, most likely in Troy, they are character centered. So they are based on the characters, depending on the narrative. But they did that in Total War Troy, and also here they tried to change the way you get the victory conditions. But what I have seen here is that they have made a lot of work in changing the formula, but not in the way that they change it like like it is a completely alien game. No, it is more likely they added a little bit more of flavor to the actual campaign. I think Troy and this one, the Bronze Age Total Wars, they are based on the gods. I am not able to choose them right now. I think the gods are here, local deities. But by the way, now that I'm talking about the deities, you can see here worship of Ra, and it says advice for your faction. It says that the faction is the actual character Ramses. Okay, Ramses is advised to be um, to to need to create shrines for Ra, even though you can create shrines for all other gods, if I'm not mistaken. So the point here is that what I'm trying to um, make you understand, if you are like those that are saying, just the war is has changed so much. Yeah, it has changed, but things change, and I don't see it is more of the same. It's kind of complex. So I decided to do this video because I just wanted to talk about the Total War franchise and how the Total War is now positioned in the wargaming genre. But yeah, it is this thing that they changed, in which they have added narrative into more like a paradox title. It is more like a paradox title. They implemented events and things that will happen randomly, and the gods have a little bit more of a role on the buffs and debuffs of the characters. It is more something like that. It is more like an adventure. What I see is that people believe that if they are going to play a Total War game, they are going to be creating the same things that the other what happened in the past. They are going to recreate what happened in the past. But with this is not exactly, that's my point of view. This is not exactly the reason of these games. The reason of these games is to open up a little bit of curiosity for you, and to make you um fell in love with history, to make you curious about history and search about history. But in at the end, the whole thing here is to have fun with history. You are in a historical playground in which you can have fun with this. You can go and enjoy what happened, because you know that this guy is Ramses. This is a a guy that was depicted as a god man on earth, and you have all of these. You can change his raiment, as you can see, avatar of the gods. Look at this. This is beautiful, and I like how these guys look like this in the the way they are depicting the character here. It it is much better from what we got at the beginning in the Total War series. That's for sure. And I'm not talking about, again, I'm not talking about how this looks, why this looks like this. I'm talking about how they evolved from what we know, which is the original medieval one and Shogun one, and going to Rome. Total War standard, classical one, so on and so forth. The franchise has evolved, and the franchise has evolved beautifully visually. So yeah, so this is what I'm trying to say. This is a playground of antiquity in which you are going to have fun, thinking that you are Ramses, or that you are Merneptah, or Senachte, or Seti, whichever you want. Let me show you the characters. They look so amazing. Seti, this
Mightiest
is
of
another
princes.
pretender of the throne. Then you have Merneptah, which is
Gurur
the
is to
actual
be wise.
Pharaoh. Look at him, how beautiful he is. So you have the GNC
I
Raiders.
seek what cannot. Training won't win
I
you any
think that
friends,
these guys
Ramesses.
are located
Prosper at all costs.
up in here in Cyprus. These are the Denian. I think the Denian are the Danans. I'm not sure. You have these
I
guys that
stand
we're at
strong.
war with. We have as well the Sea Peoples, the Sea Wanderers, which I'm not sure. Don't butcher me. I'm not sure if the Sea Wanderers are the same as the Sea Peoples, but the Sea Peoples are to be the guys that are going to provoke, as I mentioned at the beginning, the collapse of the Bronze Age, and they are going to destroy everything. It's amazing. Let's stay a little bit here in the pyramids here, so we can see the displays. So this is basically this video in which I wanted to talk about that and show you a little bit of the gameplay of this new Total War. So let's get on with it.
Ramesses the Bold.
Ramses the Bold. By the way, you can do a lot of interesting things. I like how this looks like Rome Total War 2. Rome 2 Total War. This looks like that. It has a lot of feeling like that. You have outposts nowadays. Outposts are these small things that what I see here is that they made the same thing that they did in Empire Total War. It feels like that. But these outposts are things that, for example, you can do buffs for your troops in the region. For these two outposts that we have here in this region, we have buffs such as favor for the gods and melee defense on recruitment, buffs for protection, and buffs for influence. Influence is an important resource here. You can see that we have the same amount of resources, the same type of resources from Troy Total War. We have food, stone, and wood, which are the basic ones that are present in most of the of RTSs. This is not exactly an RTS, but these are the normal resources plus bronze and gold. Gold is a resource that was already present in other Total Wars, but they added all of this. They added bartering and stuff like that. Here you can see the bartering. You can see expired barters, trade reports. You can barter with the other factions by going into diplomacy and clicking negotiations. This is, by the way, I think this guy is the father of this guy, if I'm not mistaken. You can go single barter and exchange things for other things, so on and so forth. Just for the people that don't know
In the name of duty.
how this works in these new Total Wars, Bronze Age Total Wars. You have here different. I like the UI. It looks nice. Here you see the kingdom, the known factions, as always. Here you see the provinces that you have here in North Sinai and the contested provinces here. That are all the provinces that we know of, which are all of the provinces from here to here. Okay. Here we have reminders in which it's going to say settlements, upgrades, constructions available, and here we have ambitions. By the way, if you click that guy, you're going to see that he has a lot of stats. This is the character card of the guy. You have abilities. In this new game, you have stances. You also have the raiments that I show you. You can change the raiments of the actual character and also the bodyguard raiment. If you change the weapon, as of right now I don't have, but if I don't put a weapon like this, he's not going to have a weapon. So the actual bodyguards are not going to have a weapon as well. So the weapon that you choose for him is the weapon that the bodyguard is going to have. So yeah, you have these new things, titles, in which you can put 4 different titles depending on what are the competencies that you do here. This is how you this is not like a skill tree. It is different from the skill tree. You don't have a skill tree, you have competencies instead. So these are more likely skills, but they have changed that. You have skills that have to do, let me show you the last skill, which is this one that is a level 15 that increases the prevents rebellions, upkeeps minus 20%, morale plus 10, and influence. You have as well this one that is called Fortitude, that has to do with recruitment, slots, defense, and replenishment, including fatigue. And you have this one, which is Ardor, which has to do with night battles. Now, take into account that if you want to have night battles, you have to level up until the last part of level 15 in Ardor. That's the only way you got night battles. Movement and speed and charge bones. Depending on how much you spend in here in these skills or traits or whatever, these are competencies here, you can unlock here. It says that if you have 3 of these Fortitude, you can get Sandwalker, so on and so forth. You can see all of the options that we have here. It's pretty nice. And yeah, you can recruit troops as always with the Kopesh here. I like the design that they decided to put a Kopesh here. You have native units and you have also faction units. You can see the Medjay are, for example, these guys are specific for Ramses. You have Sherden, which are the sea peoples, and the Habiru, which are the peoples that are appearing in here, as well from other Total Wars that I have mentioned, Troy and Warhammer. You have special recruitment. And finally, the other thing that I want to add is that you have in the actual settlement one thing that is called, this is something completely different. This is idle workforce. So these are people that are going to work for you to create things on the settlement, are workers. You get workers, and the workers, if you have idle workers, they produce penalties for happiness. You have also influence that is going to increase the production, which is very important. And also you have other buffs, such as, for example, the things that the shrines of the gods do inside the settlement. And the other thing that I haven't explained is the royal decrees, which is actually the technology tree. The reds are for battle, these ones are for happiness and civic things, here you can see. And then you have these ones for economy. So you can go and navigate this this thing. By the way, I don't know if this works or if this is just bugged for me or bugged for everyone. For example, XP. It says here that you can right here, like in Paradox games, and click enter, and it's not showing me. It's not working. I think it's bugged out. So for example, you want to see something that gives you wood. Okay. When I see that, I said, oh, that's good. That's like a Paradox game, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Okay. So yeah, I think this, the other thing that I wanted to add in this, you can see here as well, turns remaining for for buffs that happen, especially if you are a specific character, people support and inner circle, this and that. You can see how much turns remain for this effect to be active. The other thing that I wanted to say is that they added the undo turn. This is something that never happened before. Now, if you do something in your turn, you can undo the turn basically and restart the turn from the beginning. It also, as always, tells you pending actions in here, but in here, because by the way, in Troy you don't have a date, and in Troy you just play, and it's like Warhammer. You don't have a specific date. In here you have a specific date because I think they included the date in Pharaoh because the cataclysm, the Bronze Age collapse happened somewhere. It is time dependent. It is tied to a specific date, I believe. Perhaps I'm just supposing this. Perhaps this is just an invention of me, but I think that's the reason they decided to go and design this game with a date in here. You can see as well that if you ever played games like city builders or games before that have to do with Egypt, you would know that most of the games from Egypt they have this thing here, which is the seasons. For example, in Children of the Nile, which is a beautiful city builder that is a classical one that I'm going to recommend you to play, they have in Children of the Nile they have as well this thing embedded into the mechanics for Egypt. You have the flood season, the growth season, and the harvest season. And Shemu is going to be the last part of the cycle. So it is like in this time you didn't have the calendar as you know today. So in this time you have to follow the rules of the Egyptian seasons, so that's the reason it has like this, and Shemu's season is the last. That's why when you begin with Ramses, you're going to see that it says that the feature of the Kulbiti's court, path to power, and ancient legacy are going to be locked, because it says that reach the first Shemu Hor turn to unlock this feature, which is here. Okay, so these are the events. Events, sacred land occupied, which is Sukkot. Sacred land. Let me show you here. If you go here and you go to realms, or more likely, if you go realms, it is going to show you the realms depending on the name of the actual areas. This is the area of Sinai, Lower Egypt, Upper Egypt down here. This is the Fenku, so on and so forth. It's going to have different. What I'm trying to explain here in this thing is that it resembles pretty much a lot to a Paradox game. I think they have been doing this, and you can see as well ownership. This is the normal ownership from the characters, but you could see diplomatic status, as always. What red means bad, again, green means good. Attitude, again, diplomatic status, is if they are neutral. You can see allies. These are my allies. Neutral are indifferent, or neutral or indifferent, whatever, are the guys that don't have any colors. These guys are the enemies. Then you have attitudes, which are green is good attitude towards me, and so on and so forth. Happiness, the place is not so happy. Influence as well. You can see your influence, your growth, a lot of growth. And we have sacred Egyptian lands, which are the lands that are de facto. Let's talk about in a Paradox style. So these are the jure. If you know Crusader Kings, these are the jure from Egypt. These are regions that are de facto the jure from our land. And these are the Hittites, which we are not we cannot see them. They are covered in the shroud. Food, it is going to tell us what is the place with more food in our land, which is this one, which is good to know. With wood is this as well. With stone we don't have, as you can see here. With bronze is this one. With gold we don't have. So yeah. Okay, so I like the transition in between this and this. It looks so smooth. I like how it looks. And just okay, so let's begin, and let me tell you that I am at war with this faction over here. You start in here, and you, as always, you begin attacking one single enemy entity in here. Then I just captured this settlement in this part over here. And then we have to take this one over here. This settlement here. You see this arrow because I have, if you are an ally of someone, by the way, this is not the, this is the, I'm supposedly allied with Senarte, which is my father, as far as I can understand. Look at this, the strength rank of my faction is very low, even though I'm a strategic threat for some reason. Senarte here is my ally, as you can see. It says that military access, it says military allies, is military ally with Ramses, and I am with Senarte. And I have military access to their lands, obviously, because apparently he's my father, and I am at war with this faction over here. By the way, this faction is Canaanite faction.
I fight for my brothers.
You can see that you go here and you can see nomadic Canaanites. Apparently there are nomadic Canaanites and Canaanites, by the way. I think people like this one,
I fight for my brothers.
settled Canaanites. This is a settled Canaanite and nomadic Canaanites. Okay, they have a differentiation in that. So again, I have chosen my father
For
here,
Pharaoh's glory.
and you have the typical war coordination. So I have 4 turns before, I have set the war coordination target for him to attack these guys here in the north. That's why you have that arrow. If you click here, it's going to zoom to war coordination target, and it's showing us the war coordination target. Let me show you. This is more clear. That's why this is the war coordination target. Apparently, in 4 turns, I have never seen this before, because in other Total Wars, especially, let's say that I was playing a lot Troy Total War, you would send a war coordination target, and they are going to move immediately against that enemy. In here, Senarte is like, okay, my son needs help and he needs me to attack there. I don't care. But I have found these 2 guys. You can see this guy raiding here and this one here. Those are Sea Wanderers.
Speak then, if you must.
This guy here, I have pay him to attack my enemies. So both this one here, that is the white triangle here, and this one here. Let me go here and zoom here. This is the other one.
Well met.
By the way, they are...
It can be arranged.
It's a little bit funny how they talk. The voice is funny. But you can see that these guys are just hordes. If you know a little bit about Total War, you would know that there are some factions that are settled factions and some factions that are hordes. Horde mechanics are different. They are hordes that they just wander on the map, and they would raid. I think that's the reason I say that these guys look to me as if they are the Sea Peoples, even by the name that they are called here, Sea Wanderers. Perhaps Sea Peoples are other hordes, like the Attila hordes, you know. So yeah, I managed to make this guys. I said, okay, you two. Senachte cannot help me, so you two are going to help me. And they too are helping me right now. So as you can see here, Sacred Land Occupied, which is this one, united withstand with the Luca, apparently that's the name, and this one, these are Luca, and the other one, the Hordes. Royal decree in effect, long festivals. I did this because I need happiness, because I'm having a little bit of problem. You can see 24 because when you conquer here, by the way, I have noted that usually in Total War, when you conquer, you have 10 conquest penalty, and here you have 15. Pretty interesting. Raiding, because my interesting mercenaries are raiding my own land, even when they know that I am settled here and I have defeated the other enemies. And the taxes and instability as well. That's why I did the royal decree of longer festivals, because the people are going to get a little bit upset because of this war. Siege lifted, this was because they attacked me. They sent one unit from here to here and they attacked me. These are buildings, outposts completed, the trading post in Nehel, and here in Neb Gehes I have as well an outpost of a way station, a trading post in Neb Gehes, and a construction of a winter, which is, let me show you, this is the capital. Here we can see the vintage here, which gives happiness as well, and production buffs plus workforce growth. Enemy killed in battle. Yasub was my enemy in that settlement that I just captured here.
Blessed by the gods.
And the battle, decisive victory. Ramses' army has achieved that decisive victory against the forces of this general Yasub. The character affairs, I just gained a rank. This is the
of Egypt.
third rank that I gained. And foreign trespassed, Wadunas. I think the foreign trespasser is this one. This is Wadunas.
Pirating for profit.
Okay, the two skills that I've got, I used them to buff the three skills, sorry. Three skills. I buffed level 3 to presence, level 2 to fortitude, and level 3, no, this one not. I buffed this one, I think it was this one, presence. 2 in presence and 1 in fortitude, and I just got shield of the Medjay. The Medjay are this unit here. You can see Medjay swordsman. This unit here is a sword and shield infantry that is very powerful, that is like a special unit for Ramses. You can see Ramses. He has the possibility as well to train native units. In Ramses you start in Sinai, which has a shared native unit roster with Red Genu, and it was two main kinds of units, the Shazu, okay, and the Habib. As well, you see that he has faction units. You have, as Ramses, your units are great at both offense and defense. Use lines of strong bowmen to cover the melee infantry in both cases. You have the Medjay at your disposal, which are elite warriors that wield weapons. Different weapons. You have access to Sherden, which are the sea peoples, and the Sherden is remnants of sea peoples. Okay? I'm not sure why it says that they can use any weapon here. This is the Medjay swordsman. I don't know why it says like that, but it also says here, pray to your gods for mercy, for I have none to spare. You know, small flavor here. They can hide in forest and scrub, shoot while moving. Oh, I understand. This is because these guys have missiles and they have swords as well. It's the same for the for the unit that is basically the the bodyguard of this guy. Campaign effects, you have movement at C plus 6% this army, and movement at land. This guy has a lot of movement options,
Destined for
by the way.
greatness.
Again, you have here encampment, raiding, ambush, and march. I have discovered that acquired traits here. It says ambitious and content. It is two traits in one. And you see this bar here and this other one that is going to be filled. It says that you gain content by ending turns in encampment stance, and you will thus get more. I don't know if what happens if you get that trait, but I think it's going to increase the replenishment. Oh, there you go. You can go and increase the replenishment in. Right now I'm doing in experience per turn, but if you continue to be in encamped stands, you can get more content number 2 and content number 3, which is going to get a super buff in replenishment. Here you have ambitious 2, which gives experience for each unit as well. Experience per turn means that the unit will get experience as the turn goes on. You don't have to fight the battle. Okay? I think that I have talked a lot about what is this Pharaoh thing and what I have discovered so far. So as of right now, we're just waiting here and replenishing. Sadly, because of the problem of food, we cannot get more troops. It says here that we have 2 pending things reminders. We have a settlement upgrade here that we can use.
Egypt.
There you go. We have, this is the garrison, as we know, and the garrison is very, very depleted, so we can go and add more things here. For example, mustering hall, or getting here a fishing grounds, which will give us a lot of food. Right now it says that it is a ruined fishing port, and it's beautiful because if you go here you can see the port that is ruined, and I like how this is getting a little bit of narrative here. The boats float broken, the nets tangled with dead fish in them, a stench. So let's fix this. We're going to use 150 wood, obviously, because we have to fix the wharfs, let's say. And you have 30 to use on stone, 1 workforce. You can see that we have idle workforce, we have 3, so we can use 1 workforce to buff the food. The other thing, because now we have construction available in North Sinai, it says we can select different things here. This is for resources. We can get more wood, 30 and 40. We can get here in management, we can get Senate House, we can get News Career Stands, which gets us influence and happiness. This gets us, this one here, Water Well, gets us irrigation network, and this one here, the beer hall, nets us a pretty good amount of happiness, which I think it's going to be the best one. So I'm going to be doing a Senate House. Okay, and finally, I think that the next thing that I think that is going to be good, if we have high influence, we're going to have less upkeep for units, which is pretty interesting. Or we can go for more of these, I don't know. We need a fishing ground in order to get Smuggler's Market or Woodcutter District, which, by the way, I don't I think it's amazing. Champions Hall gives experience, and Guard Tower gives us siege holdout time +2. So it's more like defensive situations here. Let's say that Woodcutter's District wood construction cost. Now, this thing here is pretty interesting. Smuggler's Market giving food income during collapse. Oh, that's during collapse, during crisis. And during prosperity is going to give me plus 260, but it's going to decrease. I don't have, by the way, enough wood to do that, nor workforce, but it's going to decrease happiness. So we are not going to do that. Instead, we still have the possibility to get ourselves more workforce, if possible, or get ourselves with public square, influence, and happiness. If we buff the influence, we're going to still have resource production, which I think it's going to be better, plus the happiness, as you can see, or workforce growth and the upkeep. The resource production means that we get more of these things, obviously, but the thing that I see here is that if I go for irrigation network, high influence bonuses are going to maintain the upkeep reduced, but I don't like that. Usually the upkeep is when you have a huge stack of a full stack, this thing of the upkeep is good, but if you lose that, you get a lot of penalty. So I think happiness is going to be better here. We're going to work with happiness, I think. This one, the guard tower, also gives happiness. And another thing is that here we can go for recruitment office with charioteers and stuff like that, because recruitment office here, I'll show you. Recruitment office has archer chariots, medjay archers, and medjay swordsmen. These are the most important and official governmental recruitment building. I'm not doing that. I'm still pushing forward to happiness. So I'm going to go for this one, I think. I could spend another workforce to do that. I'm also tempted to go for wood. Wood is important. Most of the things here need wood more than well, these guys, for example, native recruitment need more stone than other things, but most of the things they need wood. I can still push forward this one or push this one. Here we have water well as well for workforce. We can go further in happiness here, but we will need a idle workforce. I can build this, but I need more workforce, which is quite interesting. Do I have one of these should give me more workforce? No, I don't think so. So I will go for more workforce. So more workforce means this one here is the center one. Interesting. More workforce would mean going up in here. It has workforce growth. We are 2. I'm wondering if workforce growth is the same as the work of the growth. So let's see. I can definitely go here and analyze that in terms of growth. No, this is units. buildings here. Where is growth here? It's interesting that I'm trying to find growth here, but it's not showing me. Okay, whatever. So again,
Destiny bound.
by the way, where can
Ramesses the
I
bold.
recruit agents? Do we have agents here? We can recruit generals. Building browser. Agents. That's another thing that I'm trying to understand right now. Agents. Do we have agents here in Pharaoh? That's another thing that I was wondering if there are agents here. Apparently there are no agents here.
Destined for greatness. Chosen of Ra.
Really weird that we don't have agents here. Okay, so again, I am in a small dilemma here. Do I go further into this? No, this is not the one. Do I go further into workforce growth in the province? So we will wait for more workforce. Or, because to build this one, we need, no, this one here. We need 4 workforce and we have in 3 turns we're going to have another one. Okay, I think we're good with the workforce. I don't need much more, so I'm going to go for influence and happiness. So news criers stand. News from the eastern provinces. So this is going to be good. Let's go and do that. Now, 2 questions that I have right now. Do we have agents in Pharaoh Total War? And the other question is, do workforce is growth? Okay, let's continue. Oh, finally he decided. Oh, they just destroy them. Well, well, well. Okay. Choose an ambition. Choose an ambition. Ambitions are a selection of diverse missions that provide various rewards to receive benefits such as resources, units, and victory points. As you complete, abandon, or fail ambitions, new ones will appear for you to choose from. This is like, I think this is like in Europa Universalis when you do the missions for the states, I think. Stone Cold, a conqueror at the gates, a band of brothers. 10 turns for each objective. These are their rewards. Path to conquest, we're going to get -1 enemy siege holdout time for 10 turns, and food 1000 once. Bronze, which is good, 1000 bronze. This is 1500 stone. But look at this, focus on skill. 12 turns, recruitment costs at half. It's going to halve the recruitment costs, replenishment and upkeep for tier 4, 5, and 6 units. And we will get bronze. This is maintained total of 10 units of this type, and this is going to give me upkeep for those units. Interesting. This is the strategist ambition, conqueror ambition, and conqueror ambition. This means that what I have to do is to get 10 units of this type. I have 10 turns to do that. Pretty interesting. In this case, I have 10 turns to capture and occupy any settlement and will reward me with less enemy siege holdout time, and I will be rewarded with food, or this one, Stone Cold, that will, for 10 turns, I have 10 turns to conquer a region focused on producing stone. Okay, this one is discarded. In between these two, I think I'm going to select this one, Conquer at the Gates, because if I am to recruit 10 units of this, either way I will have to spend resources and I will have to tear up anything that has to do with food, which is going to produce more needed supplies for these 10 units, and I have 10 turns to do that. If I don't do that in 10 turns, as you complete, abandon, or fail, new ones will appear, but I don't want to abandon or to drop this one because I don't know if it's going to give me penalties. It's not saying that it's going to give me penalties, but I think that this is a little bit tough to do in these early stages. So I'm going to go, sadly, we're going to lose the bronze. And the other thing is that, recruitment cost means that we're going to recruit more, but it's more supplies. Replenishment, okay, replenishment is okay, but upkeep is going to be evaporated in 12 turns. Instead, here, if I continue attacking other factions, I will have Path to Conquest, which will give me less time to siege if I want to siege other factions, which is pretty normal in a total war game. So this is the one that we're going to capture and occupy any settlement, and I know which settlement I'm going to use. I'm going to capture and occupy. We already know that. A conqueror at the gates. You have heard tell of a neighboring settlement whose people would welcome you with open arms if you somehow first bypass the closed gates. Okay, this one will be.
Foresight is the mark of a great ruler. Choose your priorities, and you can continually build on your strengths.
You will have the opportunity to mold your journey through choosing and achieving ambitions. Whenever the time comes, you can pick from a selection of 3. Achieving an ambition will provide rewards that you may use to create new opportunities. Some ambitions become available only after achieving a certain previous ones. And that's why I said that
Blessed by the gods.
they Creative Assembly tried to make this more narrative focused, like Paradox games. Let's see, where are my ambitions? Where can I see the ambition that I have just chosen at this point? View records. Where are the ambitions? Faction destroyed, which was destroyed by these guys here, by the way. And as I said before, because it was destroyed by Asasumises, this sea fetter. By the way, because he's a horde, he just destroyed it. He did not occupy it. That's why I asked for their help. The other one, apparently, the one that was raiding here, and very cleverly stopped to do that. He went into the Sinai in here. Okay. Buildings and units. New Squire stand is now constructed Senate House and fishing grounds. We're getting a lot of food because of the fishing grounds. The Senate House it was constructed here, by the way.
Fate favors me.
Senate House is this one, and it's giving us happiness, which is stabilized the loss of happiness. So we have stabilized the public order, which is good. Influence, we're getting good amount of influence here. 16, we have 67.7% of influence, and we're going up. it says that Egyptian influence is going up and the Fenku merchants is going down. By the way, this is for the North Sinai, and we have Canaanite nomads is now as well going down, very very strongly going down. The Canaanite nomads, because obviously they were destroyed. Interesting to note is the Fenku merchants. I think that Fenku merchants are coming from Ashkelon. This is the area of Fenku, as far as I know. And then there's a little bit of trade. Now, by the way, I miss the, you remember in other Total Wars when you have this small ships moving around here? I miss that. Okay. Fishing grounds. We just fixed that. Construction of new scry stands as well. This is the new scry stand, I think. And we have two idle workforce because we have more workforce here working in this. By the way, we have 3 workforce here. So we have 5. You can also do the same as in Troy, construct instantly by paying gold. But we're not going to do that because we don't have gold production. Okay. And joint war efforts. Target is lost. We no longer share enemies with our allies. And sadly, Senechta was not willing to help his own son. Okay. Okay, let's see. Ambitions. There you go. This is the ambition section where you can see the card of the ambition. You can forfeit the ambition. Hopefully there is not going to be any. Let me just save here. Let's see what happens if I forfeit. You're about to forfeit an ambition. Nothing happens, I think. I think there's no penalty. If you just do that, nothing happens. Okay, now you know that. I'm going to reload. That's why I did the quick save, because I wanted to know what happened. Now you know that you can forfeit the ambition with no penalties. That's something interesting, to forfeit the ambition with no penalties. Talking about the design, I really love the fact that if you click here, you see the card. It's a card. So that's the beautiful thing, Okay, we still have this one. By the way, it says here, this ambition represents the archetype of the conqueror. Grasp for the horizon, make all bow down to you, however strange their language, or their faces, or the stars in their skies. Ambitions correspond to the archetype your faction leader represents. However, this is also affected by ambitions pursuing the past. Okay guys, so this is what has been happening so far in this Ramses run. I will have to deal with Hedge here because if you see here in attitude, these guys are getting a little bit angry with me. By the way, if I double click here, let me see if I am able to see who are these guys. This is Hedge in South Sinai, and he is part of the nomadic Canaanites. We have this other, the Habiru, which I don't see them. I don't see the location of these guys. Perhaps they are here. But we have in the north, Timnah. Timnah, by the way, is a settled Canaanite, including here in Beersheba. We have more settled Canaanites here in Jerusalem, in Ashkelon, in Megiddo.
I stand strong.
And I will say that here in Shechem we have Simrida, which is settled Canaanite. I will have to think what I'm going to do in regard of this settlement here that the Sea Wanderers just raised. We'll have to think about it. I have to think about more units, recruitment of more units. You can see that we have a lot of shrines of Ra in regard of that. It is important to have worshipping of Ra in here because we're going to get buffs with that. Advice for your faction, it says that Shrines of Ra are good. Why? Because they improve chariot recruitment and increase workforce for the province. And the Raspberries reduce fatigue of units, and the Devoted General's army has higher armor, and their chariots have more powerful charge. That is in regard of the local deities. Then we're going to open up Court and Path to Power, which is the way to achieve victory and become Pharaoh, as far as I understand. And then we have Ancient Legacy, which has to do with Ancient Legacy here. It says that advice for your faction, when you reach to the choose of the Ancient Legacy, you can go, and it is going to be advised to get the Tutmos the Conqueror to soften up your target conquest and take it over with ease, which is something that we're going to be needing in this run. By the way, if you remember, I said that here I just saw in these normal province regions, which is not the province capital, I saw that you have the possibility to recruit the most powerful office, which is the recruitment office, which gives you access to archer chariots. I thought that archer chariots was the maximum chariot that you got with this guy. However, by the way, this symbol means that this is a sacred land for Egypt. By the way, this is also a sacred land, so I will have to take it, yes or no. And now that I see it, it's a sacred land. It's part of a sacred land for the Egyptians in here. So this place is a must. We have to take it. And perhaps we're going to be able to fulfill this. However, as I was saying, I just noted that in here, if you go up in here, actually it's not here, but it's in the chariot maker's workshop. Here you can go up to here. This one got you archer chariots, which is in the provincial capital, but you can level up the tier and get yourself sentry chariots. So it's going to be very important here in Neb Gehez, which is our base of operations, to have the Shrine of Ra and have anything that has to do with Ra. Let's see if there's religious things. Yeah, we have religious things. So we have Temple of Ra, and Temple of Ra 2. This is the one that is going to be created in here. By the way, it costs 200 stone and 65 wood, which I'm going to be using one of these locked slots in here, and the other locked slot is going to be eventually occupied by thinking about influence and happiness and stuff. No, it's going to be occupied by a chariots maker's workshop. Exactly that.
Destined for greatness.
I just hope this was interesting for you. This is the new Total War style of experience that we have nowadays. I just wanted to express what I think about the franchise up to this point in time, which is the most recent thing that happened into the franchise. A very, very loved franchise for me. Hopefully you got something of value watching this video, either if you are someone that don't know the franchise and want to get into it, or if you are a veteran and you have been in the situation of not knowing if this is worth it or not. For me, I can tell you it's worth it. It's pretty nice. So this is my opinion. Thank you for watching. This was Victus. See you in the next one.